Well, hey guys, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. Today we're gonna pull pieces off of this truck. We jerked it out of the Hog Shooter C10 Parts Emporium, and got a couple things on here that our blue truck doesn't have. So today I want to make a video and show how to pull these pieces off, and we'll see what kind of shape they're in, what we got to replace to get them ready to go into our blue truck. Let's look and see what we got here. So she is the Cheyenne 10 model. All the stainless and everything is all there, the aluminum trim, but no bed. Got a video on this truck when we went and picked it up in Missouri, and got a pretty good deal on it, so we drove all that way and bought it. But it does have, you know, the little crusties going on here, and it's been worked on before. Stuff's been replaced once already, so a lot of stuff there. But it does have the nice door panels in it, the seat covers shot. The thing that I wanted out of it, it has a tilt steering column, and you can see it's gotten hot, right? It had a fire, so a lot of stuff is hurt on this truck, but there's still some good stuff here. And we're going to have to pull the instrument cluster, drop the column down. Got a few things underneath the hood to take care of. Let's look at that real quick. So you can see this is where it got really hot. Bare wires up here. Yeah, all the insulation melted off, and then the firewall got a little toasty. Even has some rust back here. Fiberglass AC box is just melted down. And other assorted issues. So what we've got to do is we've got to disconnect a bolt right here. Disconnect that rod. Knock everything loose there, and then the rest of the connections are up under the dash. You got a couple of bolts right below the master. All right. So let's see if it'll back out with the impact. Negative. All right, since it just laughed at the impact, let's put a little 3/8 action on it with the, yeah, get on there. Might have should have brought some juice out to do a little soaking action. Oh, yeah. Upgrade. First class, baby. Ooh. Just don't give up. Oh, hot, 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 hot. Oh, little punch. Okay, it looks like it moves that way, all right. Yeah. All right, you see that much spline on there? You know that's going to come off. So let's take the rest of these fasteners out. All right, and these are 1/2 inch. That other one was 11/16. Oh, I can't quite get the socket on it. Come on. Phew, everything on this dude is just super tight. I wonder what's going on. Why in the world would it be so tight? Let's see if we can get this back in there and convince it otherwise. Oh, come on. I don't know, the old Craftsman cordless has just not got it today. This air impact is whooping its tail. Okay, when you pull it out from under the hood, basic, simple hardware like 5 bolts plus your shifter linkage here. Take that all loose, and now we're ready to go inside of the truck. Okay, you're up under the dash now. You've got brackets that hold the pedal in place, a little steering wheel shroud, all that stuff's got to come loose. And then you got to reach your hand up underneath here. There's a button on the top of the light switch. You have to pull the light switch out part way, and then you release that button or push in on the button, and that knob will come out for you. Yeah, no good way to film this. None at all. Get up in that thing. There. See, it comes out. It's just retained by a little clip that grabs on the end of that and holds it in place. So now we got to go in and get us a pair of pliers that we can lock in here and unscrew that. Aluminum on steel, or pot metal on pot metal, I don't know. We'll figure that out, see if we can get it loose. And you got a bunch of Phillips head screws around that hold the instrument panel in. I've already got them loose, but this and the wipers got to come out. I have a specialty little tool here, or you can get you a pair of these 90-degree bent needle nose, and they'll work. That thing just fits in, locks in there, and then, oh yeah, turn it loose, buddy. Barely any threads holding her. That's nice. All right. Now, this knob, all right. So there you go. Back that sucker out. And it comes right off. Yep, okay. A couple more 1/2-inch bolts here. Got to back them out to drop the column down to get the instrument panel out. Oh, you dog. There we go. Okay. Now, there is the wire, the plug, right there. So we'll have to get that undone. And then, I think our column will be pretty close to being able to come out. We got a couple more bolts on a grommet down at the bottom here. Little 5/16ths, I believe. Then that whole rubber grommet comes out, then the column will pull out. All right, get her back in there. Come on, thing. Everything's got to fight, guys. There's that one. Oh, yes. And this one over here is just going to be fantabulous to get to. There we go. Got that out. And now we push a little rubber grommet out. Pull it in something. It just got him. It's got him come out of there, buddy. All right, I gotta go outside, take some stuff loose. Okay, rubber grommet's got to come through first. All right, there you go. Out in the seat here. Not hard to pull. 20 minutes, maybe. This part down here is going to be the tough part for you. This one was super easy because nothing was in there. I am noticing there's no neutral safety switch bolted on the column. A lot of rust in it. We'll have to check this thing out real good before we make the decision to put it in our truck. We're going to have to pick all our bolts and stuff up now. All right, well, we had to get outside of the sun there in that old truck. It was starting to really heat up, but we got our column sitting here. And what do you think of that Camaro steering wheel? That is what that is, right? Like 76 to 81, somewhere in there. Camaro wheel. You can see you got your tilt lever, turn signal. This is the column shift model, which is what we need for our truck. I was looking back here and it looks like something's happened with our indicator. This should have a fiber optic there with it, and I don't see a trace of it anywhere on our truck, but you know, this thing did catch on fire and burn once, so that could be part of the problem. And then our gasket here, that's, or grommet, whatever you want to call it, big plug that goes in the firewall that seals the hole, it's okay, not just falling apart. We might have to silicone up a little bit, and then you got this metal ring that bolts in and clamps all that in place. I don't know if I showed the very end, but it is kind of rusty looking. But the steering wheel, I mean, it rotates good. It doesn't feel notchy, so we're going to run with it. One concerning thing is all those butt connectors there on our plug for our column. I mean, as long as they're done well, we're fine. I would rather solder and use shrink wrap just because it makes the repair a little bit smaller. But whatever, we'll deal with that when we get it in there. I did want to take time and show you, just like, man, on these trucks, they all look the same. The parts look the same, but holy cow, there's a bunch of differences there that you don't really notice when you're looking at that one part in the salvage. So kind of pointed out the stuff on this column. Let's get a tape measure and measure the length of it so you have that to go by. So here we are with our tape measure, and I'm going to go overall just length of the column, not including the end of the shaft, out to the middle of the steering wheel, measuring at an angle which isn't exactly accurate, but it's close enough for us most of the time. It's 37 inches with that wheel. If we're just looking back at the column itself, what do you say, 33 and a half, something like that. You know, those are the dimensions that you need a lot of times if you're going to order a column. You got to know the column length. All right, so here's two of them side by side. What kind of steering wheel is this, guys? Is that a Chevy Celebrity? Is it a Jeep? I don't know either. I just know that it's there. You will notice it has that same roundish style plug. This is actually an original floor shift column, so there's no rotating part to the bell there on it. And this is actually painted the same color as the interior of this truck is, but it's just, yeah, I put a tilt in that truck. We'll look at it in a minute. So this is an earlier column, and I say that because of the setup down here at the bottom of it. It actually goes all the way down and bolts onto your steering box, where this column has an intermediate shaft here. So that's something important for you to keep in mind when you're pulling one of these columns out. If it has kind of a bigger rubber looking joint right here, you need that whole shaft. Just pull it all when you take it out. Most of your column bolt patterns and pins between the manual steering, power steering, as long as you're in the same year trucks, they're going to work out the same for you. I think GM just has 3 or 4 different steering boxes and designs for that. Don't quote me on that though, because I could probably be wrong. Yeah, so you got this. I set the steering wheels back here so you could look at them and see they're virtually identical in length. Now, neutral safety switch. Well, a manual column isn't going to have that in it at all. It doesn't have a little place to click anything. Here in your column shift version, you have a little flag of metal standing up there that fits into the switch that allows it to rotate when you shift the gear shift-o lever and show you or keep the vehicle from starting. It can turn on what? Reverse lights? Or is that another switch, guys? No, it's all right there. Yep. So you got that. Now, let's drop this lift down and we'll look at the column that's in this truck. It's a little different. All right, guys, so this is a column that's a little different. Here's a joint and the way this thing comes together and clamps up on this particular model. This column came out of a Chevy van though, like a mid-80s Chevrolet van, I want to say. It may have been earlier than that though. We'll look at that plug on the inside. You can see we bolt up to our column here. This is a special bolt here. You need to make sure you save it. I just have a random piece of hardware stuck in there right now. Oh yeah, here you go. There's that flat plug that I was talking about. I did when I got this column. I cut the corresponding wiring that went in the vehicle out so I could just splice my wires in my harness and still be able to plug in, unplug my my column there. And this one is not really tied up in here. It's just kind of barely sitting, but I could tell it was a later model because of the steering wheel design, you know. Yep, you know. This one does have just the one push button cruise on it as well. So that's something that you get when you go to those newer components. She's a tilt. This one has the old loose bolt syndrome. That's not the whole column moving, that's just the upper part. So we just have to take and tear down the top half of it and tighten some bolts up. Yeah. So there you go. There's the van column with this piece made the proper length and welded in. I think the deal is this shaft right here is longer and this is longer than on a stock vehicle. I do have the column slid in there as far forward as I can just to get you more belly room. Yeah. So yeah, that's the basic way she goes in, guys. All right, so this column, it has a new turn signal switch installed in it, and I just bought the whatever, and it's got this flat style plug like I showed you on the other columns out there, but you can see I have this adapter in here that adapts it to your original wiring in your truck. Now if you replace it with an I Did It harness or something like that, they'll come with the harness having the flat plug, and then you adapt their harness to your column. And you know, if you're buying new parts, you're operating outside of my realm. So there you go. And you can see on this one, I just painted it blue, and then it's oversprayed with just black down at the bottom, because that's what your engine bays a lot of times are black. Okay, so we got that where you can see it easily, the wiring difference. And then here, this one actually has a hole in the bell for the column, and this is the wrong year little indicator. I want to say this column is out of a 68, I think. I don't know. These things just got all mixed up, and this truck was a mixed bag of different parts. So it's the kind of stuff you run into, and like I built it and I did it to myself, guys. You ever do something like that? You get going and you just jack yourself around. Well, I did myself several times on this truck, but we're fixing stuff and getting it back to being, you know, right. It works just fine the way it is, but I want it to look like an original truck. I'd like to have a tilt column in it, just because that tilt column will be the proper year for the truck. And I like being able to move the steering wheel. It's one more option. I think another thing I'd like to have is a tack dash for this truck. Yeah, so I don't know how well it shows up there, but this one is the same up where it connects to the column and it comes out, or connects to the firewall, I'm sorry, and it comes out. It all looks the same, and then we've got this joint right here where we can unhook this thing and yeah, be able to change our column and not have to mess with pulling stuff off the steering box. That's what I was really afraid of, not afraid of, but just not looking forward to. And then I'm going to change my gear shift lever on this, I believe. We got her running down, and it's a bunch of more stuff that's just odd down in under it that we need to fix. I cobbled up and made it work, and it works just fine, but it could work better. All right, so that was nice looking at the blue truck and seeing that it had a similar intermediate shaft, not one like that. Of course, it doesn't solve the mystery of what year did that column come out of, because I think that it's going to get confusing. Ready? The column that's in the blue truck came out of this, which is brown now, but it used to be orange. And this column is a column that somebody gave me that was for something else, but I could be wrong with what they are. Anyway, you've seen enough, and I'm going to take and pull the wheel off of this column, look at our turn signal switch, and we'll talk now. All right, so horn button, yeah, comes off easy. Gotta get your big socket out there. I think that is, yeah, 3/4 inch, 6-point chrome socket. That's what I grabbed. We'll impact that dude off there. Sticky steering wheel. What do you do about that, guys? That thing is like, ugh, rougher than the girls down at the Waffle House. All right, that wasn't tight. Maybe. Yep. Ah. Steering wheel seems to be tight though. How do you pull these things off? Nope. I went down to the O'Reilly's and I bought me a Lyle 455 double knot, and it has like all the stuff that you need. I have had to construct a few bolts for some oddball things that we've pulled, but yeah, works great. All right, so what do you guys like? I got the manual version and I got the automatic. We're gonna shift with the automatic today. I always like to tighten everything a full turn before I loosen it, just to make sure that it's going to come out. Now, it's important, it is important here, let's get serious, that we kind of keep these components in order, because if we don't, our horn's going to honk all the time. And, you know, that might be good for some of you guys, but not necessarily for me. Look at that little stuff. Just all kinds of wave washers and things. Now that could have come out before. And then you got your little spring hootis here with the little plunger that always gets messed up. That's perfect. And I think now I've got to figure out, those are 5/16, I think. Is it 5/16, 18? It's kind of what that looks like, isn't it? Man, you know, maybe we ought to go buy a lottery ticket. Oh, no, probably shouldn't, because you guess, oh, no, there it is. Okay, okay. All right, yeah. There we go. Got the right size there. I guess we ought to put our puller on before we run them bolts down, hadn't we? And this thing, it'll work on a lot of stuff. Harmonic balancers. Mm-hmm. Camshafts, if your camshaft ever gets stuck. Flywheels on your rototiller. And the steering wheel. Zinger on down in there. Boy, that one went way in fast. Might not be a good deal to go in that far. Oh, here more in. And give that one another ooga dooga. There we go. Now, this puller set, super nice. We're just going to run this dude in here, and it'll probably hit it a half a time and pop loose. I like that the nut on this is the same size as the nut to take the wheel off. Let's see, 40. Yep. Woo, all that for that. Yeah, I mean, all that for that. Let's go ahead and bust this dude off. Take it apart, put it up just like we found it. Make it easy to get it out next time. And I am going to probably put this thing right back together, but I like the old Camaro steering wheel. I'm trying to figure out how. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I think it ate a thread. Jay-money. We'll have to run a tap over that or a die over that, won't we? There we go. And, oh, forgot to put the part number back in there. I'll do that. I'll be able to figure out what you need next time you got to go buy a new one. Or somebody else wants to buy one because they messed yours up. I don't know. So if you guys don't know how this stuff all works, this piece fits in to your steering wheel for your horn button. That pin locks it in so it rotates with the steering wheel. These little pieces right here, they're designed to hit the turn signal switch and cancel the turn signal switch. You know how that works. You turn the wheel, it clicks off. Yeah, that's what makes that do that, is those little things there rotating around in here. So if I turn that on and we're going and we're turn, oh, there, yep. It's always frustrating, right? You get into a spot where you want to turn and it just like cancels every time on you. That part of it seems to be okay. What usually happens on these, I believe, is that they get a little dirty. Oh yeah, that's a little sticky. Doesn't want to just back off there. So they get a little dirty on the contacts right over here, and that makes them not work good. Like you get intermittent like crazy. And if you look at these, black as black can be down in there. So yeah, we are going to need to do a little contact cleaning. I set this up on a jack stand so it'd be easier to see, but I think I'm going to pick the other end up a little higher so everything runs out of there and we don't run everything down inside of our stuff, because we're going to have to use some good stuff to clean this out. All right, we're going to just douse her down with our favorite foaming cleaner here and see what we can do. Give it all of it, buddy. Every bit. There you go. Yeah, little buddy. Just get yourself good and clean right there. That sounds promising, doesn't it? Promising that it needs every bearing in it. Why is it every piece I get is like needs a complete rebuild? Is it because I'm buying junk? Is that it? Get all that stuff. See, there's shiny parts in there. They are really. Yep. All right, let's get a plug in. Let's try a little glass cleaner and see how it does for us, guys. I think this is just some relabeled sprayway. It's coming out of there brown. Can's empty though. Got some special oil here for this little bearing. I believe she may be bad, fellas. It's not sounding good for the home team. Put this special experimental oil in here that they used on the space shuttle. Boy, yeah, when you're using these mixtures of cleaning products, it's probably a good idea to do this outside where all the chemicals can disperse in the air. Because that is some nasty smelling stuff that we've concocted there. A little bit more of this here. A little less talking, a little more action. How's that? Let's see if steel wool will clean up our rust here. How much it'll clean it up. I know it'll clean it up some. We don't know anything about the old column yet, if it's going to make a steering column or not. So I hate to order all new bright stuff for it and everything. If you notice on the C10, it's just got a black shifter arm on there because it was rusty like this, and I knew I wasn't going to leave that column in it forever. Well, that just rebuilt it right there. Fully restored. Yeah, that'd be great. Be nice to have a shiny shift lever again. Negatory. There, Ghost Rider. Don't think you're gonna have any luck. Come on. Well, you know, can't win them all. Cannot win them all. I just wanted to clean up some stuff, make sure we were going to be okay here, make it look like I tried. All the rusty crap off that. You know, steel wool in this fine grade, it'll clean up about anything. And it doesn't scratch it terribly. This thing's got some pretty wicked residue all over it. I think it's because it was so on fire, you know? She was out there on fire, guys. Well, all right, we ran her through 3 cycles in the dishwasher and once in the washing machine and got all the sticky amazingly off from around the rim. We just got a little bit back here that's a little nasty yet. But I'm gonna take and put this all back together. You see I did clean up our horn lower ring, the little plastic cancel cam or whatever that is there. We got to remember now how all of it goes back together. All right, that's always the tough part. And we just have to stick all of our little stuff back on there. And we should be in pretty good shape, I do believe. Got a little wave piece went underneath here. No, won't do that, will it? Okay, so when you're putting this back together, you line up this hole with the horn button there, and it's set up so you can rotate this thing however you need it to get it to line up. And we just want to, yeah, slip it on there. We're not worried about straight or centered or any of that. We just want the wheel back on it. And I think, oh man, yeah, this goes underneath here. And then it's going to go with screws in there. And that little button makes contact with this. And then when we push down, we make it make horn sounds, beep, beep. So I think that's what we'll do. So get her back on there. Lined up. Manually start a couple of screws. Because the reason why I'm putting this back together is because it's going to be a while before I do anything with this column. And I don't want to lose any pieces, guys. If it's going to be a while, we better put it up nice, because we might end up losing all of our stuff. Yeah. So there we go. That's on. And we're going to put our nut back on there. I am not going to tighten it down, just finger tight on there. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, something like that. Keep our wheel from just completely falling off. And then this thing has a little groove that lines up with a notch there. So we got to put it on. And I guess when we put this thing on there for permanent, we're going to have to line it up so the bow tie is across that. We got her off a little bit, but it's okay for just quickly putting it back together. So there you go, guys. Bunch of different styles of columns. You can 1-800 everything. Oh, there's a reason why part of our stuff wasn't working. We left the spring out. Dang it, son. We'll have to get that back in there. So yeah, bunch of different columns, different styles. You can always buy something, you know, that 1-800, if you got the credit card number and the available credit limit, you can buy whatever you want. But I like to show what you can go out and find out of old vehicles, and that's it. So as always, I really appreciate you guys watching my channel. Give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll catch you guys on our next video.